The more you try to fit into everyone else's world, the more you may be disappearing from your own. And you probably don't even realize it. You check their lives. You measure your progress against theirs. You replay conversations, wondering what they think of you. You change your decisions because someone might disapprove. It feels like insecurity, but what if it's something deeper? What if your attention has quietly become the easiest way for other people to control you? Because manipulation doesn't always look like threats. Sometimes it looks like approval. A compliment, silence, a raised eyebrow, a subtle comparison that makes you question yourself. And every time you abandon your instincts to keep someone else comfortable, you lose a little more connection with who you actually are. But there's a hidden reason this keeps happening. And once you see it, you may never look at your relationships, your ambition, or yourself the same way again. The fastest way to lose yourself is to constantly measure yourself against someone else. And manipulators understand this better than you think. Psychologically, comparison creates an unstable sense of self. When you doubt your own progress, you become easier to influence because you're desperately searching for an external standard to tell you whether you're good enough. Imagine your coworker casually saying, "Wow, I thought you'd be further ahead by now." Suddenly, you're questioning your career, your abilities, even your worth. That's the trap. Research on social comparison shows that repeated upward comparisons can distort how you evaluate yourself, even when your actual progress is strong. And slowly, you stop making decisions based on what you want and start making them based on proving yourself. So remember, comparison steals your direction before it steals your confidence. Stop looking sideways, because the next trap is even more powerful: the need to be approved. The moment you need someone's approval to trust yourself, they gain power over you. Manipulators know this. They don't always control you through fear. Sometimes they control you through the possibility of rejection. Psychologically, social approval activates reward and threat systems, making praise feel reassuring and criticism feel disproportionately painful. Imagine telling your partner you want to change careers. They smile and say, "Are you sure you can actually handle that?" Suddenly, you're defending your dream instead of pursuing it. Do this long enough, and you begin editing yourself before anyone else even speaks. Your confidence shrinks. Your decisions become cautious. Your self-respect becomes dependent on reactions. Here's the surprising part. The more you chase approval, the less authentic your choices become. Real freedom begins when you can disappoint someone without abandoning yourself. Remember, approval is a reward, not a compass. And once you stop seeking permission, you discover the next hidden key to becoming unstoppable: learning to build a life nobody else gets to control. Not everyone deserves access to the life you're building. That sounds harsh, but psychologically, secrecy can protect your motivation. Manipulators often exploit information you freely give them: your plans, insecurities, goals, and weaknesses. The more they know, the easier it becomes to influence your choices. Imagine telling a coworker you're planning to apply for a better position. They respond, "Honestly, I don't think management sees you that way." Suddenly, you're questioning a decision you were confident about 5 minutes ago. This is how outside opinions quietly become inner voices. And here's the surprising part. Talking extensively about a goal can sometimes create a premature feeling of accomplishment, reducing the urgency to actually pursue it. So stop announcing every move. Build quietly. Let results introduce you. Your private life is not a secret, it's protected territory. And once you stop performing for the outside world, you're ready for the next challenge: learning who you are when nobody is watching. Sometimes the noise around you exists because you're afraid of what you'll hear in the silence. And that silence is exactly what manipulators can exploit. When you're uncomfortable being alone, you become more dependent on distraction, reassurance, and other people's attention. A manipulative partner might notice this and disappear whenever you disagree, knowing you'll eventually chase them just to restore the connection. You think you're protecting the relationship, but slowly, you're teaching yourself that your peace depends on someone else. Here's the surprising part. Solitude can increase self-awareness because removing constant stimulation gives your mind space to process thoughts and emotions you normally avoid. So sit with yourself. Walk without your phone. Let the uncomfortable thoughts arrive without immediately escaping them. Because when you can enjoy your own company, rejection loses its power. The person you trust most should eventually be you. And once you build that inner stability, the next question becomes even more important. What happens when life refuses to go according to your plan? The moment you try to control everything around you, you hand your peace to everyone around you. Manipulators understand this weakness. They can provoke you, delay you, criticize you, or create uncertainty, and then watch you waste energy trying to fix what was never yours to control. Imagine your boss constantly changing expectations. You spend hours worrying about whether they're satisfied, rewriting your work, and second-guessing every decision. Slowly, your confidence collapses, not because you're incapable, but because your attention is trapped in someone else's behavior. Here's the surprising psychological insight. Your brain can become more stressed by perceived lack of control than by the difficulty of the situation itself. So ask yourself, what can I actually influence right now? Your effort, your boundaries, your response, your next move. Stop fighting reality. Control your actions, not the entire world. And once you reclaim that power, you're ready for the next question. What if the life you're chasing was never truly your definition of success? You can spend years winning at a game you never wanted to play. That's how external definitions of success become a psychological trap. Manipulators, and even well-meaning people, can use status, money, or comparison to make you feel inadequate unless you follow their version of achievement. Imagine your family constantly asking, "When are you finally going to get a real job?" You may love your current work, but eventually, their judgment makes you question your own choices. That's how confidence gets replaced by approval, and your decisions slowly become designed to impress instead of fulfill you. Here's the surprising part. Research on intrinsic motivation shows people tend to feel more satisfied when their goals reflect personal values rather than external rewards. So ask yourself, if nobody could see your life, what would you still choose? Success isn't what makes you impressive, it's what makes your life meaningful. And once you define that for yourself, there's one final piece: turning that vision into a life you consistently live. Your life can change completely without looking different from the outside. That's what makes consistency so powerful and so easy to underestimate. Manipulators often benefit when you constantly chase quick wins because impatience makes you easier to discourage. If someone tells you, "You've been working on this for months and still haven't succeeded," you may start doubting yourself and abandon the very habit that was building your future. Psychologically, repeated actions strengthen behavioral patterns through reinforcement. What you repeatedly do becomes easier to do, and eventually starts feeling like part of your identity. So, don't chase motivation. Wake up, do the work, repeat. Your confidence grows when you keep promises to yourself, especially when nobody is watching. Consistency turns effort into identity. And now, you've reached the final question. What happens when you stop living for everyone else and finally start living for yourself? One day, you may realize the person you've been trying hardest to impress was never the person you needed to convince. It was you. Awareness is where freedom begins. Once you recognize comparison, approval, distraction, control, false definitions of success, and inconsistency for what they are, they lose their ability to quietly steer your life. Remember this: the moment you stop outsourcing your identity, you start building your destiny. You don't need to become someone else. You need to stop abandoning yourself. If this message hits somewhere deeper, like the video, subscribe, and comment, "I choose myself." And stay close, because the next psychological truth reveals why your mind sometimes protects the very patterns keeping you stuck. Stop chasing the world's attention. Reclaim your own, and watch your life change.